Good evening, everyone. For the second talk of the day, we have with us Professor Divya Uma. She is currently a professor at Azim Premji University. Her recent works include investigating mimicry in ant mimicking spiders and the ecology of floral changing plants and their pollinators. She's going to take us for an insect walk later. Today, she's going to talk about songs, scents, and seduction, sexual selection in animals. Please welcome Professor Divya Uma.
Um, Good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here. And I really enjoyed the previous talk. And I'm going to tell every one of my friend whether they belong to upper class or whenever there is a middle class conversation. So thank you for that really good, nice talk. So we're moving away from our own, class and economy, and going to be talking about a little bit about animals and the crazy things that animals do to impress a female. Okay, so it's a very, very different talk. So before we go there, let's think about what are the different ways that human beings try to impress their mates or their partners or their wives or their girlfriends. So I want to hear from some popular, I'll start with one example so that you know where I'm going. So maybe somebody in your class, very, very cliche, very general thing would be to give a card for Valentine's Day, right? Okay, so I want to hear more examples of this kind. What would a male do to impress a female at any level? Huh? Show good hair. Okay. Okay. So a guy might have a long ponytail. Okay. All right. Anything else? Hmm? Can't hear you. Write a dedicated poem. Okay. That's nowadays they might use ChatGPT. All right. Anything else? You don't have to think so hard for this question. From red roses to chocolate to cars to joining a gym. All right. Okay. So let's look at some movie examples. So do you remember, can you recognize all these movies? What about the first one? Okay. All right. Though it's not it's an older, my generation movie, this is, but you have all seen this movie? All right. So can you now kind of think about differences between, okay, what's happening here? Which movie is this? Bahubali, and this is DDLJ. All right. So there are different ways in which males are trying to impress. So this is the going to the gym kind of an example here. So some males they show off their strength and either to impress the female or to fight with one more male, right? And or write poems or sing songs and dance. There's a lot of song and dance in Indian movies, right? So with this context, I want to kind of tell you very many different examples of what happens in the animal world. And you will be surprised that it's not that different from what is happening in the human world. Okay, so I'm not saying that, oh, it's very similar, it's exactly same, but you can draw some analogies. Yeah? So let's look at what happens in the animal world. I'm starting with 3 videos. One which all of you know, this is of peacock dancing, which all of you would have seen in zoos and movies and whatnot, right? So we won't spend much time there. This is somewhere in, wanted short clips somewhere in US, one of the zoos in US. are
Why did the peacock cross the road?
so there are male sea lions are very aggressive. They fight with another. So there are two male sea lions fighting and showing off their strength. And the one who wins get like a harem of females to mate with. Okay, so that's what is happening with male sea lions. And this is a bird of paradise. Really showing off its iridescent blue feathers, and it is trying to impress a female by both by its song and dance. You would have seen this in any Discovery Channel or National Geographic kind of Attenborough movies if you have happened to see it. Cartoonish, like a cartoon, like smiley face. And so, these are some of the ways that animals try to either court a female or to kind of even try. So they're either doing some kind of a courtship with song and dance, or they are they are courting a so these are courtship, some examples. So the peacock dance or the bird bird of paradise dance, these are all courtship dances. Whereas the sea lions, they are fighting. They are actually combating with another male. So those are competition. So some ways in which sexual selection acts is male-male competition. So two males are competing with each other. They're just fighting, brutal fights, and then the one person or one animal, one individual of a species which wins, basically have a chance to mate with a potential female. The other category is where you display either colors or song or your brilliant dance movements or whatever it is. Right? So these are two kinds of strategies that animals we can kind of classify broadly. One is male-male competition and another is female choice. So we will kind of take different examples for these, and I just want to tell you various stories of different animals, and maybe think about why should we care about all these things. Yeah? So when we think about male-male competition, I like this figure because it has various animals, and what is highlighted in black are all different weapons. It's called as weapons, but basically these are all, you can see, let's take, these are all different deer or elks with various, large antlers. There are some scorpions and other, creatures here with large pincers, or there might be other creatures with, rhinoceros with larger horns. So these are all, they are called weapons because it's with these that these individuals will fight with another male. So they use this weapon, or basically these are present only in males and not in females. So they are called sexually dimorphic. That means these are some characters which are present in males, but they are not present in females of these animals. And they use that to kind of fight with other males. You saw sea lions, right? Sea lions is just sheer size. But whereas with these, there are other, traits like this. So this is an example of male-male competition. And can you think about what might happen if there are really big antlers for a deer? Female might like it because that deer will just throw away all the other deers. It's just, there's one alpha, there's one dada deer, right? So it will kind of, nobody can beat it because it has such huge antlers. But is there any disadvantage of having this huge antler? Somebody said, I can't make out who is talking, but mobility to a certain extent. So it's, if it's so heavy, maybe it can't walk at all. So look at this. This spans, just the antler, it can span around 12 feet, right? It's so huge, it has grown so huge that it can't even walk. It's that heavy and huge. And this species has gone extinct now. So it is lived in Siberia around, this is a elk. It lived around 8,000 years back. So the problem with this is that, yes, females might like males with large antlers, but maybe it's disadvantageous to the male because it can't move or it can't escape from predators. And that's exactly what a peacock feather does for a peacock also. You all might know this example, right? So for peacocks, yes, it can impress a peahen very nicely with its dance, but with that nice, beautiful, flamboyant feather, it's so big that it's a clumsy flyer. So if a predator is coming to catch it, it's not going to go, and it can't fly very easily. So there is advantage on one hand, but there is also a disadvantage, huge disadvantage on the other hand. So in biology, this is known as an evolutionary arms race. That means that a female is pushing the male, not literally pushing, but on an evolutionary scale, it is kind of saying that, okay, if you have, I will select for larger, bigger, and better things, better traits, but those things may not be advantageous for the male per se. Okay, so there is a cost benefit kind of a thing which goes on, and it will settle, the species will settle down at a point where it should not be detrimental to the species, right? Where it can go extinct, but obviously some species will maintain that particular trait. Yeah. Female can, maybe females can't think about the disadvantage. It's not, we are seeing it as advantageous or disadvantage, but female might just say, so why should a female select something with a large antler? Let's think about it from that perspective. Anybody want to take a guess? Why will female care about antlers? It's not going to, male is not going to stand there and protect the female from its antler, no. Yeah. Okay, so maybe our aesthetic sense is different from a female deer's aesthetic sense. So these are all potential ideas, okay? Nothing is wrong. Anything else? Better offspring. So maybe the ones which have bigger antlers might have good genes in some sense, meaning I'm strong, so I can kind of shoo off other males, or I can escape from predators, whatever it might be. Or there might be, I have less diseases and less parasites which will affect me. So, so the female is selecting these males which have bigger or better or larger traits. So I'm calling this having an antler as a trait. Okay, so I'm just introducing a word, biology word for you. So it might select, basically it might select for good genes in some sense, indirectly. So that female may not see that, oh, okay, it might be disadvantageous for a male, but it might say that, okay, somebody with a good gene is better for it to mate with, so that she can reproduce and have that. Yeah, did it answer your question? We'll come back to it, yeah? No, it doesn't really relate to linked genes, no. Let's not, linked genes it might be linked with totally unrelated genes also, you know. So it's just, I'm saying good in a inverted comma in quotes because what is good for one particular trait, I mean, entire, you know, all the male qualities may not be good per se in that sense. So we'll come to what is good, what is bad, how males deal with it, all these things a bit later. But so what I'm trying to say is, what is good for a female might be different from what is good for a male. For a male, escaping from predators or, you know, just walking, no, a normal walk might be needed. But for a female, having larger antlers might be good, might be better because it might get, you know, be able to mate with that male so that her own offsprings might be better. So there is some kind of a tension between sexual selection and natural selection. This is again biology jargon, but there is a tug of war between what a female wants and what a male wants. Okay, so let's think about female choice. So again, we have already talked about peacocks and why does a male peacock has such huge feathers? Because it's female choice. Female is driving this kind of having a male having big, bright feathers. Okay, it's not that male wants to have this big trail of feathers. Okay, so we don't have to. If you guys have questions, feel free to ask me. We don't have to, you know. I mean, not in a hurry to complete the presentation or anything. We can just spend some time talking about this. So I'll show you another video of peacock spider. This is called as peacock spider because it looks very colorful, just like this peacock, and it lifts its abdomen. The spider, tiny little spider, okay? It's found in Australia. It's around 2 millimeter long in size. That's that tiny. And it lifts its abdomen and it dances to a female. I'll show you a video, but I'll tell you what happens in spiders. In spiders, females are larger, slightly larger than males. And this is a jumping spider, okay? You can see the eyes are pretty big. They're like headlights. They're big, front two eyes are very big. And males kind of woo females. They have an elaborate dance and song usually, and that's how they woo females. If the female doesn't like the male's dance, sometimes she can eat the male. So the mate can become a meal, okay, if the female is hungry. So we'll see with that in backdrop, we'll see the video. Okay, so any questions on this? Did you like the video? Had you seen this video? I mean, you're all math students, right? So this made since it's very colorful, this got a lot of publicity, this peacock spiders. So we also actually in India also have something similar to peacock spiders. It doesn't lift its abdomen, but we have something very similar, which does very complicated dance. I'll show you in a bit what we have. And if we are lucky, maybe we can go and find, let's see whether ICTS campus have these tiny spiders. Yeah. So again, summarizing what I was telling earlier, in some males, two males fight to get attention towards a female. In some other species, they dance and or sing or whatever, right? And the female decides. And one more example is in some species, they give some gifts to the female, literally give gifts, okay? So these are known as nuptial gifts. So these are dagger flies, some kind of fly where basically this is the female and the male has given her a gift of a dead fly to eat. need not be always chocolate or flowers, or different species have their own kind of gifts. For a female, this is very juicy, nice gift. Okay, so it is busy eating, and while she is eating, the male is quickly mating with her. So you might find these strategies weird, but for different species, there are different ways. And these are very different, diverse ways of life, right? So we have often, we have a very human-centric way of looking at things. But remember that we are a minority. We are a minority species who has managed to spoil the world nicely. But it's insects and spiders and microbes which are more diverse and really abundant in the world. So we need to pay attention to these little things also. Right, so those are daggerflies. This is a katydid. It's a kind of a cricket, and it's a female cricket, and it's got a big, it's called as a spermatophore. So along with sperm, from the male, it has also got a lot of proteins and nutrition and lipids and whatnot. It's like food for her to eat, so that female, say if a female is starving or if a female needs more nutrition, that takes care of, this spermatophore takes care of it. Even in fireflies, it's known that the males actually give along with the sperm, the males also give a lot of nutritious substance for the female to eat. So these are all various nuptial gifts. During mating, the male gives a gift to the female. Okay, so this is one kind of strategy. Another kind of strategy is what is known as lekking. This work is done by Professor Kavita Ishwaran at CES, Center for Ecological Sciences in IISc. She works on these black bugs, which are, this is particularly from Rajasthan. So what do you know black bugs for? What is it famous for? All of you would have heard about black bugs in one context. Not in this biology context, something else. What is the context? You know? Actor, who is the actor? Salman Khan. Okay, what did he do? All right, okay. So at least you have heard of black bugs in the context of Salman Khan. Salman Khan, right? So, but anyway, so these black bugs have a fascinating strategy. What they do is a lot of male black bugs come together. When I say lot, it's 100 to 200 black bugs. A lot of them come together and they form a group known as lek. So that's known as lekking behavior. So they all come together. They all they're spaced out like this. And what they do is they basically, this black thing, what you're seeing, right? Basically, they poop in a stretch of land to mark their territory, okay? They poop and they stand in this area for a long time. That's what they do. That's how they establish their territory. I know it is weird, but that's their way of life, okay? So, so this, you can see the black thing here. So they're pooping over days and days, and they're just guarding that territory. And like this, there are hundreds of black bugs lekking and attracting a female. Okay, so females will come, they look at many individual black bugs, because it's like, it's almost like going to a shopping mall, right? You have all the shops in one area. So you have all the males in one area, and she can select whatever male she wants. So this is a cartoon representation of this. This is taken by this journal called Resonance. If you have not come across Resonance, you should read. You should glance through anything. There'll be math articles and any science and math related articles. So there are two black-back males, okay, and they have pooped and they have marked their territories. They're guarding their territories. Sometimes if they come close to each other, they fight. and then this is a female. It doesn't have these antlers, okay? And females come and inspect its territory and then finally decide to mate with one of the blackbuck. Now, the ones which are, so these blackbugs form like this circular, very big round territories, okay? Number of blackbugs stay there. So if you take a drone and if you look at from like an aerial view, you'll see that there are a number of blackbugs kind of arranged in a circular fashion. So one more thing I'll tell you, and I want you to predict who would the female choose, okay? So, so it's found that these blackbugs are guarding their poopy territory, right? And they won't leave for food or water for several days. They're just guarding, sitting and guarding their territory. And males which are present at the periphery, there are males which are present at periphery and males which are present in the center. So males at the center obviously can't leave that area to go and drink water, so because they are in the center. But whereas the males which are at the periphery can quickly go and drink water if needed, right? So if you were a female blackbug, which male would you choose? Would you choose the male in the center or male at the periphery? You can raise your hand, whoever wants to answer. I've given you a hint of what the males can do. Either they can sit for a long time and guard their territory which are in the center, or in the periphery one, they can go whenever they want. Center, is it? Okay. Periphery, center, okay. Okay, so one person who says center, can you give me why, explanation of why? And one person who has said periphery, you can tell why. We'll start with periphery, yeah. Okay, so they can do whatever they want. That can be attractive, okay? The one whoever said center, you have an explanation? Why do you think the female should choose the one in the center? Yeah. Okay, okay. So the answer is male at the center. The female the real data suggests that. I mean, it's actually complicated work. It's not as easy as I'm making it sound, but by and large, the female chooses male in the center because the male in the center can stand and withhold without water, and it can go without water and food for a longer period of time. That means in order to do that, it must be strong, right? So female is again choosing a strong male, which can, if it is sitting in the center without water and food, it better be stronger than the one in the periphery. So that's the logic behind it. Right? So this is one kind of mating behavior. Right? So I'm just giving you a series of examples just to kind of impress upon you that there are so many different varieties of animals and plants. I'm not even talking about plants here, but there's such fantastic diversity around us, and we are actually losing a lot of it without even realizing that there is so much diversity. So the next question for you all is, if female is always selecting bigger, better, stronger, the one who is singing much nicer, then what about other males which are not so big and which are not so flashy or who can't sing? What will they do? It's not a difficult question, okay? So you can. What might they do if they maybe they're slightly shorter and maybe they're slightly smaller, or what will they do? Will they lose on mating opportunities? Maybe that's one thing. Any other example? Any other thoughts? Hmm? They might become meal for the female, okay. But so see, the whole idea is to pass on your genes to the next generation. So both male and female is trying to pass on their genes. So in biology, that's what one of the, what individuals have to do. So in order to be, in terms of biological fitness, we won't go there. That's a different kind of, it's not like how strong you are, but what fitness means is how many of your, how many offsprings can you kind of produce, okay? But what happens if you're not strong or if you're not, bigger or taller? Frequency of those males, they'll slowly kind of decline. Okay, that's one answer, okay? Okay, there might be other strategies. What they might do is simply cheat, okay? They might cheat the females. These are sneaky males. So cheating is actually quite widespread in nature. If they can't, if they're not bigger, if they're not stronger, there are these Japanese macaques who live in social groups, and there is a strong alpha male who will get many mating opportunities. And our poor little Japanese macaque here, this individual, maybe it's not stronger, so it will look for opportunities where the alpha male is not looking or vigilant, and it will quickly mate with the female. These are sneaky opportunities. They'll just quickly go and mate with the female. Right? And these live in troops, so they will also try to go out of their troop, cross the border, and sneak into another group and mate quickly with another female. Right? So what I'm trying to say is it need not be always bigger, better, larger males. There are other ways in which males employ, might get mating opportunities. Same with the red kangaroo in Australia. They live in large groups, and there is an alpha male, which is very, very strong. But when it is not looking or guarding females, smaller males will quickly go and mate with the females. So cheating also happens in nature. Skip that. Okay, maybe in the interest of time, I have around 15 minutes or so. So there are also males which become meals, right? So we have seen an example already of with spiders. So this is another example. These are black widow spiders. You have heard about these. They're called as widow spiders because female often eats the male after mating. So these are in Australia. These are very, very poisonous spiders. But so you'll see this is a big female, and this, can you see? There's a tiny, this is actually the male. So it is 1/10 or even less than its size of the female. So these, literally, the male will commit suicide in some sense. So male will be mating with female, and then it kind of does this somersault. It jumps and succumbs to, basically, it gives its life. So the female will start eating the male while mating. Now, again, I'm going to ask you, okay, what is the advantage of this kind of extreme behavior? It can mate and get away with, get away from the female, right? But it will actually commit suicide. It will actually go and give itself to the female. So now again, what's the point of this? Okay, now you're all cued into this idea of, okay, female should get more nutrition. Anything else? Any other thought? Okay, so there's no point of running. Female is anyway that big, so I might as well like get, no, but it might have another chance of mating with some other female, right? Why should it sacrifice its life? So this is a study done by this professor in Toronto. She came up with a lot of different hypotheses to address this. I thought maybe I won't go into details, but what I can tell you is, I mean, she also thought on similar lines. Okay, maybe it gives female more nutrition. Another idea could be that maybe the males which sacrifice themselves, it might give female more nutrition, or maybe those females who feed on those males might produce more eggs. No, the nutrition might kind of translate into having more eggs, right? Or it's also possible that the female won't mate with. It's less likely that the female will mate with another male after mating with eating this male. Are you all getting what I'm saying? So if the male A is mated with the female and the female is eating male A, it's possible that it is full after that and it's not interested in mating with male B. So then what is the advantage? Then maybe all the eggs she produces is from male A. Okay. So I have to tell you one biology fact that female spiders can mate with multiple males, and then it can produce eggs from either a bunch of males, or it can choose. Sometimes they can choose which male's sperm it can use and discard the rest. In many males it happens, not just in spiders. In other animals also it happens. They can choose which male they can potentially fertilize their eggs with. Right? So these are all some of the hypotheses. So nutrients, one is nutrients, which you all told. The other one was eating one's mate decreases the likelihood that the female will mate again with another male. And then males that are eaten mate for longer and fertilize more of females' eggs. These are the three different hypotheses that she tested. And what she found, okay, so I want you to take a look at the data since it's a math and stats workshop. You can look at this data and see whether this data supports the hypothesis. You have finished your first year undergrad, right? Okay. Then you can forget about Mann-Whitney and confidence level and all those things. We can talk about confidence interval later. But look at these median values. So this is number of eggs per egg sac. So this is cannibalistic matings and this is non-cannibalistic matings. Can people at the back see these numbers? Okay, what do you think? Is it different? So those who, the females who have eaten the males, so that's cannibalistic matings, and there are non-cannibalistic matings. So are the eggs per egg sac, number of eggs per egg sac, are they different between the two groups? Are they very different? They are different, but are they very different? So you would see that actually if you do a particular statistic, you would see that they're not that different. 256 is not that different from 249. 249 is close to 250. It's not very different. Even these two are not, numbers are not very different. You might, if you are a biologist, you might use what is known as Mann-Whitney test, but let's not get into those statistical test details. But they figured out that basically these two groups are not very different from each other. So it's not that nutrients are not the issue. Nutrients provided by eating the male are passed on to the eggs of the offsprings. That's not actually correct. Then what about other hypothesis? So this is basically eating one's mate decreases the likelihood that the female will mate again with another male. So that's actually, she ate the first male and there was only 33% that of the time that she mated again. She didn't mate again if she already mated, she ate the first male. If she did not eat the first male, there was highly, higher likelihood, or it's 96% of the time she ate, mated again. So this suggests that this is actually really important. It reduces mating chance of the female the second time. Right? So this is one of the reasons why males are, there is sexual cannibalism happening in this species. And also, if you look at this graph, so does self-sacrifice pay off with paternity? So here, this is duration of second mating. So she has looked at second mating. And this is percentage of eggs fathered by second male. So what does this data say? So you look at here, it is 25 the second mating happens for 25 minutes. Duration of second mating is for right. So and this is for around 10 minutes, is it? So so what do you think of this data? Can you understand this graph? Like, I want you to see whether you can make sense of this graph. Yeah. No, does self-sacrifice pay off with paternity? So no, so this is just, say suppose if the female has not eaten the male, then it's very successful. Second mating is also successful. But if the female has actually eaten the first male, then the second mating duration is not very successful. So, but all these things goes on to say that there are various ways, again, various ways in which females, something is advantageous to the female and male has evolved those traits to kind of, whatever fits both the sexes of a particular species. Now, I just want to change gears and I have like 5 minutes left. So I want to just tell you what we do in the lab. Currently, this is one project which we are doing. So I told you about that, we have one more colorful species, tiny spider in India, just like the peacock spider. This is one of it. Again, it's like 2 millimeters in size. It's known as Stenolurulus lesserti. I know it's a big, complicated name for a tiny spider. But it does, it looks like this. It has a red face. The males have almost like, looks like Yakshagana. I call it Yakshagana spiders because it has red painted face and it has blue stripes on it. So it does a complicated dance to woo the female. So what do we do? How do we study this spider? So we went and we figured out where these spiders live. So they really like termites. So they like to eat termites. So they are termite specialists. So they hang out on termite mounds. So we just went and pictured them and caught some spiders. And then these are all people working with these spiders. These are my collaborators. And this is Shubham, who was working at that time on these courtship behavior of these spiders. So we need we use like, multiple cameras and high-speed camera and lighting and everything to measure this tiny 2 mm spider dance. And it was really difficult to film these because they just don't behave in the lab. I mean, they're fine where they are, right, outside in the field. But if we bring them to the lab, one of the things which we have to do and very carefully do is to make sure that we recreate the same kind of environment what was there outside. If the lighting is bad, if there is temperature difference, or if the female is not interested, males won't court. Yeah, so it was difficult for us to do this, but I'll show you we did this for 4 different species. This is what I just showed you, but we also did it for 4 other things. So some of them lift their legs, some of them lift their abdomen, some of them go in circles towards the female, and so on and so forth. Even in these species, there's a lot of diversity. So I'll show you a tiny, like few second video of this. So this is the male displaying to the female. I know the picture is not as good as the peacock spider one, but so it kind of has this black patch near its mouth, and it also displays that. Right? So what can we do? What can we learn from all these things? We can measure how do they move, how fast they move, what is the area which of display. So you can quantify various things from what spiders do, and you can create these kinds of heat maps of various 4 different species and say that, okay, you can, I mean, don't worry about the axis and stuff, but you can visually tell that these 4 different species are using different kinds of dances, right? And the heat map, the brighter it is, that means that it is using one particular movement compared to other, right? So those are the kinds of things which we do, at least with the current project. So I would like to end with why should we care about these kinds of things? Since you have, seen various examples and seen a lot of movies, why should we as humans be bothered about all these things? Or should we? Again, there's no one answer. So I would, any answer is fine. I just want to know your thoughts about, it's not about spiders. I'm not asking about spiders. I'm not talking about all the examples, whatever you saw about, sea lions to birds of paradise to, uh, everything else. Why should we care? Anything, yeah. Okay, yes, that's a good answer. So we just want to, maybe it's nice to know about other animals, other critters around us, right? Otherwise, we are only thinking about human beings. Yeah. Yeah. Correct. Yeah, so biomimicry, many people would have heard. Yeah, somebody said biomimicry. So maybe we might learn about, how even with, either we might learn about structural colors by looking at birds of paradise. How is it that that brilliant blue comes about without using, when we create dress or colors, many of us you are wearing blue color, but that blue comes from indigo or some synthetic dye, right? So maybe we can make use of what is existing in the animal world and learn from them. Whatever, say, what I meant was to talk about dyes is any coloring of our cloth comes with lot of chemical usage and water usage and stuff. It's extremely wasteful kind of resources. It's high resources. But maybe if we look at all the plants and animals and microbes around us, they have a different way, different strategy. That blue is a structural color, meaning like how light passes different layers of animal structure, and just by refraction and reflection it produces that color. So maybe we can learn things from various animals. It need not be about sexual selection and mate choice per se, but what I meant was the diversity of animal and plant and microbe lives around us. It's fascinating to just learn what is around us, and maybe we can, of course, maybe it might help human beings or maybe it may not help human beings, but just to kind of have some kind of awe and wonder about the natural world is really important. Yeah, I'd like to end here. And if we have time, we'll take some questions.
Thank you, Professor Divya Uma, for this enlightening talk. Please feel free to ask questions.
Yeah.
Good evening, ma'am. Ma'am, I'm asking this question with my very minimal knowledge on this topic, so please forgive me if the question is silly.
Okay.
So we saw many physical characteristics of male animals to pursue females, but in humans we have seen that there are females also have these physical characteristics to pursue and seduce males. We have seen stories and characters where females are sent especially to seduce males. So why is there a distinction between animals and humans like this?
It's a great question. It's not a silly question or anything. I have not talked about how females, the female characteristics or how female traits are there in the animal world. So it is wrong to say that only if there is female choice. Okay, so you should, the question kind of brings us to why is there a female choice, right? Since one very quick answer to that is since eggs are costlier to produce. So I'm talking about sperm and egg, and eggs are costlier to produce. It's the and also females are the ones who are caring for young ones, and there is a lot of maternal care. It is thought that it is female choice, that the females are deciding, right? Even with humans, it's yes, females can females are seducing the male and stuff like that, but there is also female decision which happens, right? You would see in animal world, say in seahorses, it's the males who kind of decide and mate with the female. So it's not that all animals where the females are choosing, right? There are cases where males are also choosing. And usually in mammals, so for example, in sea lions, in many mammals, the males are larger and males actually choose the female, or male gets, it's not that they're choosing the females, males get to mate with number of females. So in mammals, it's what you're saying. In invertebrates, so all the examples I showed about spiders and insects and everything, it's the opposite.
I had one more question. Can I ask? Yeah. So you talked about the when all the larger and males are getting to mate with the females, and there was a question about the smaller males. So similarly, is there any type of undesirable females from a male animal's perspective?
Yeah. So again, a good question. So again, smaller females might be undesirable for smaller, or females which maybe disease, which have more disease, might be undesirable for males. So the same rule applies for males, I mean females also, right? Or older females, right? So the idea is that as you grow older, you are, you have more, you are accumulating more either diseases or pathogens, or you are no longer reproductively viable. So those females are not preferred by males in some sense. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Any more questions?
Good evening, ma'am. So humans are cognitive beings, so it makes sense that okay, they want to reproduce because they're cognitive beings. They want to make sure their legacy prevails or anything. But then, why does it matter to that spider? Like spiders are. I mean, I would say, what is the reason enough to suicide and like because I don't like okay maybe I'm not well versed in the
It's okay.
subject again.
Yeah.
So I mean I don't think they have the enough understanding to understand okay that my eggs needs to be going into the female so that my legacy
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think they have that understanding. So why do
Correct.
they have to go to the extent of suiciding themselves to like make sure?
Yeah. So see, the one main reason to one main thing to understand is it's not that you have to think that, oh, okay, my animals are not thinking that my eggs have to be fertilized and I have to produce more. So it is basically it has evolved in such a way that these characters have you are seeing these characters. It need not be that a female peacock is thinking that, oh, okay, I will get chased away by a lion, or I will impress a female. But these are all over evolutionary time it has happened. Cognition has nothing to do with, of course, a male spider won't think that, oh my God, I'm going to now die, right? It's not thinking that. It's evolutionarily, it's built like that. Maybe I can explain later on what do I mean by evolutionary, it's built like that, because say it's little, it will take some more time to explain. It's not, I can't give you a quick answer, but it nothing to do with cognition is what I can say.
So at some point in the evolution cycle, they started prioritizing reproduction more than their own survival. That's what happened.
So by reproducing with that female, it is passing on its genes, right? So say it's already mated and then it dies, right? So it has mated and it's all the sperms are, it will fertilize that particular female. And then from a biological point of view, it has done its some kind of a role, right? So it's okay for it to die because it is passed on its genes to other, next generation. That's how it is kind of thought of.
Okay. Are there any other questions?
We are entering territory which we can discuss this if you guys have questions around this, we can discuss after this talk is over, or but yeah, some other questions.
Yeah, my question was actually related to the previous question. So you said it's more of like evolutionary than cognitive.
Yeah.
And so the reason that was like put forth that as to why they like, decide to like go ahead with mating, even though it means that they are eaten by the females, is that for the male, it means that after that, there won't be like another male who comes by and like, mates as well.
Yeah.
But like, what does it mean in terms of like, for the female, like why is, or like for the species itself, wouldn't it be better if the female had like a wider gene pool to like select from? Wouldn't that be better? So she can like pick out specific traits that are sort of, I don't know, better for the next generation.
Correct. So the female, in this particular black widow example, so the female might get some, the egg mass might, or the number of eggs in this egg sac might increase, or it might not mate with another male for a longer period of time. But female is still living, right? So female might have other potential mating opportunities later. It's only this particular male who dies. But female, after maybe a week or so, or more, maybe 3-4 days or so, it might mate again and might select immediately. If she lays an egg sac, that might ensure the paternity of the previous male, but later on it might mate with other males.
Okay, so if you all have other questions, we can discuss it outside. Let us thank the speaker once again.